Well, tonight, the January 6th hearing heads into prime time in what some are saying is a chance to expose for the country what exactly happened leading to and during the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Joining me now is Dr. Mark Caleb Smith, Director of the Center for Political Studies at Cedarville University. Welcome back to the National Desk.
Good to be with you.
What do you expect to see and hear from this hearing? Any new revelations? And as you know, Democrats say it's vital this gets more attention. You've got Republicans calling it political theater.
I think for me, the questions are relatively simple. Did President Trump know that he lost the election? I think that's pretty critical piece of information this hearing needs to reveal. If they can prove that he knew that he lost the election, therefore the rest of these maneuverings and everything else are really just about maintaining political power and not under the good faith that he actually thought he won the election in 2020. And for me, I think a question is, how far did he go in trying to manipulate states like Pennsylvania, like Michigan, and Arizona to potentially overturn what was generally a peaceful process. And so if they can put that kind of information forward in a convincing way, I think it'll be successful for Democrats. If they can't, I think it's going to be a struggle.
Well, Democrats, speaking of, are hopeful that these 6 public hearings are also going to reignite some of the outrage that a lot of Americans had in the days after that assault on the Capitol. You think that translates to votes for Democrats? Everyone's looking to midterms already, obviously.
You know, after January 6th happened, just for a moment, it sort of broke the typical partisan divide. If you recall, Lindsey Graham spoke out against President Trump, Mitch McConnell spoke out against him, but that didn't last very long. Very quickly, it just seemed to fold right back into our typical divisions. And I think it's kind of stayed there. And this committee has sort of stayed there as well. So I really don't hold out a lot of hope this is going to do something fundamentally different, that it's going to persuade people or maybe change votes coming up in the midterms. I think it would take a truly significant piece of information in order to do that. And right now, I just don't see that happening.
Well, on the other side, you've got Republicans who are saying that these hearings are just a bit of a Hail Mary to try and get people to look past inflation and gas prices, the ongoing war. Do they have a point?
They clearly do have a point. I mean, right now, the political climate is tilted against the Democrats pretty dramatically. You know, as your report just showed earlier, President Biden's approval ratings are very low. The economy is in pretty poor shape in terms of inflation. At the same time, to be fair to the Democrats, this has been a long-term process. They've been doing this investigation for months. They've been holding testimony behind closed doors. And so to that extent, this is not just a recent gimmick they've put forward in order to change the discussion. This is a long-term process. But airing them right now has the potential to maybe change the discussion for Democrats, which would be good for them.
You know, this may sound like a little bit of inside baseball, but there's been criticism out there about this hearing, not just for it being prime time, but also because former president of ABC News, James Goldston, has been brought in to turn these hearings into an almost episodic format. Is that criticism warranted?
You know, I can see this from the Democrats' perspective. If this really is revealing information and so the bombshell sort of information they hope that it is, they want to put it in the best possible position to reach the most audience, to maybe persuade the most people. That makes perfect sense. But to me, if this comes off as overly polished, overly produced, overly dramatized in a way that cheapens the information, then I think it's going to really undermine the Democrats if they do that. To me, if the information is really that good, it should be able to speak for itself to some extent. And so I want to see the production values at work and see how much polish we're really talking about. I could see it going both directions.
Yeah, could be a lot at stake this evening as well as the following hearings. We'll continue to watch them. Dr. Mark Caleb Smith, thanks for joining us here on the National Desk.
Thank you.